as I always say, you're not wrong, but I'm right. Okay, got it. All right. Let me just make sure I got everything. Okay, here we go. Tristan, about to start. Just fine. Take it off your head. Okay. Anyway, he'll figure it out. Avast, me hearties, and welcome once again to Full Stream Ahead. In a world of capes and lunatics, gods and monsters, there are those who fight with only the weapons that they have. They are the Hawkeyes. Or Hawkeye, there may be more than one. Regardless, I be your captain, Charlie, the Professor Esser. And as always, my first mate is my skinny rich friend.
It's Mozz.
Welcome, Mozz. Okay, now there's a lot to unpack here.
Indeed.
It is Hawkeye, singular, not plural. But who is the Hawkeye? Archer Kate Bishop lands in the middle of a criminal conspiracy, forcing Hawkeye out of retirement. Our director this evening is Reese Thomas. Our writers are Jonathan Igla, our head writer, Jack Kirby, and Stan Lee. Of course, get those. Wait, listening, Jack Kirby is Captain America created by? I don't even know why they're doing that. Hawkeye created by Stan Lee and actually Ron Heck, I believe.
Well, I mean, it's
Don Heck.
IMDb. You know, it's not.
Yeah. I don't. Was Captain America? Oh, because Rogers the musical. So yeah. So Joe Simon and Jack Kirby get that created by for Captain America. Lee and Heck get that Hawkeye created by. The real nitty gritty. Our executive story editor is one Tanner Bean, along with Katrina Matthewson. There's so much story that had to be edited. They had to get two of them. We got a head writer of Jonathan Igla, but hardest working woman in show business this week, Heather Quinn, our staff writer. Okay.
I will just say, I mean, just to say that she lands in a criminal conspiracy is assuming it's some sort of haphazard thing that wasn't her fault. She butts and nosies her way into stuff where she doesn't belong, and forces trouble on herself. That sounds more appropriate.
Well, to be fair, she seems to be causing trouble all along. She clearly has lots of issues, and let's just rewind it back to the very beginning, where the problem all started, because this episode is called "Never Meet Your Heroes." And the entire premise of this story is her having a hero and then meeting him. And then
it should be Never Meet Your Fans. That's what it should be called.
You know what? That's a fair argument. And I think a lot of heroes would say yes. They're going to give you that slow clap, Mozz. Slow clap for Mozz. Never Meet Your Fans. Yeah, I mean, that's so essentially what happens is, and this is Battle of New York time. All the monsters are invading, all the troubles are occurring, and as the troubles are occurring, at the same time, Kate Bishop's mom and Kate Bishop's dad are having a difficult conversation about what's going to happen because we're over leveraged and we're not going to be able to buy the puppy this week, for puppy stew. As you do when you're rich, you make the nice puppy stew and it's very delicious, but those puppies cost money because you only eat the purest of the purebred.
Right.
I don't know. Hey, it's better than orphan stew. I make fun of the rich because it's funny. But yes, so in this moment we have Kate Bishop's mom and Kate Bishop's dad having an argument, and Kate Bishop basically rich shaming him. It's like, I know you just feel that all the answers will fall out of the sky because you're rich and you're used to that. And then, as luck would have it, an answer fell out of the sky, Mozz. Because the aliens invaded, the entire building gets destroyed. Tony Stark's going to pay for all the repairs, plus the insurance, plus all the lawsuits about all the people that died because there was a Chitauri invasion. And this is where Stark is kind of a bad businessman on this, because obviously, you could argue strongly Stark is not directly responsible for the Tesseract and all these things, although arguably Howard Stark maybe is.
Yeah, but even then, the government has to foot that bill. That's
well, that's the thing. That's
the way to speak.
It all depends on how you work it, but anyway. So, but that is the solution, and that is why we see Bishop Security as a dominant force, which I'm not sure if it was Bishop. I'm not sure if he was always running Bishop Security, and then I can't remember Kate's mom's name. Let's see here. It'll be right here. Eleanor Bishop. I'm not sure if Eleanor Bishop was always running it, or Derek Bishop started it. Either way, they have a Bishop Security, and they are a premier company for the high-tech security that knows your face and can track your phone, which is apparently a useful skill in this universe, and also very scary. That private companies just have that. But I guess, if you give a teenager a phone for them to upload an app onto your phone because you're just sort of watching other things, I guess it works, and that allows you to be triangulated.
That wasn't the silliest thing that I thought the show did.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of silly things in every show.
I mean, you have a certain level of expectations for the writers to be somewhat serious while writing this, and not being lazy and taking shortcuts and.
Well, okay, so let's do your critique. Let's do the real critique here.
Well, okay, so
what do you think what do you think was lazy in the construction of the story?
Giving us a reason to care about Kate Bishop and her plight. Right, they immediately begin with this scene that could be so cool, and all of a sudden you have like a 5-year-old song, "Give me a bow," and I was like, oh, come on, that's where we're going with this. It was so on the nose and kind of cheesy and dumb. That's what I thought.
Okay,
unless that's a scene from the comics or something, I don't know. Is it?
Well, what I will say is, she actually had archery medals in her room already.
Right.
So she had been practicing, because this is a thing, and this is an interesting point. When she says she's been training since she was 5, effectively, she's not 5 in 2012 when this starts, because she's only 22 now. So she actually, and this is, I think, takes place in 2023. Maybe 2025, but she's not 5. She's older than that. So she had already been
an arbitrary young child number,
Well, no, but this is where that careful nerd who does the splicing and does the math figures out, oh, okay, so she had already been being groomed by someone, her mother, her father, someone in this ninja life, whatever that ninja life was going to be. Someone was already grooming her that this is what love is. We will withhold it unless you win trophies. And so, of course, when trophies get love, that's why they give every kid a trophy now.
That's it. Okay, maybe but the idea that she was so inspired in that moment that she decided then she was going to be a superhero, it just seemed so forced and kind of annoying. And then you take on they don't give her any redeeming qualities. She's just a spoiled brat who has no sense of consequences. She just shows up and says, oh, maybe, oh, this was that never occurs to her. And for someone who is that adept at martial arts, you'd figure there'd be a little bit of a sense of discipline or self-control or knowing oneself, and you don't see any of that in her. And it's, I found myself more and more just annoyed at the character and not finding any reason to root for her.
And I get that. And what I will argue from and I can't argue from the writer's perspective, but from my perspective as someone that enjoyed it as a reader who fancies himself a writer, what I will say is I think that is the exact reaction you're supposed to have. You're supposed to have Clint's reaction. So Clint is your point of view character, our point of view character, where she is clearly, as her mother says, someone who is young and rich and believes she's invulnerable. And as someone who has not always been young and rich, her mother tells her, you are not invulnerable. And the damage you have caused has consequences.
I also think she's a really good actress. Like,
okay,
and that part, like, especially coupled next to like the really, really good things that you have in the show, like her mom. Her mom is phenomenal. Like, you don't know what to make of her. You're a little unsettled. You're a little scared, but then you care too. Like, you want to, like, maybe she's the, you get all those feelings when she's on camera, and when Clint is on camera, like that stuff, like his like tiny little moments that are not really about moving the story forward. You're so engrossed in them. Like him just talking to his family. It's just a little family moment, but there's so much depth there. There's so much you feeling. And then all of a sudden, all these important moments, and you're like, oh, will she get on with it?
Yes. And to be fair, and again, like I said, I think she was written that way.
I hope so.
I'm not gonna sit here and say Haley Steinfeld is not a good actress. I don't know exactly who Haley Steinfeld is.
No, but I can say this performance was lacking.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. I think that this performance is a character, and whether or not this character is well acted has a lot more to do with what is the story they're telling, especially in this first episode. And this is my biggest complaint about this series so far, as I do feel this is something that really should be binged. That if you were to sit here and watch episode 1, episode 2, and episode 3 back to back, and then episode 4, because even by episode 3, it seems like, hey, we're at 32 minutes, let's cut it. Let's cut I really feel this was meant to be a 3-hour Hawkeye epic that has been chopped up, which is not a selling point, but it makes me understand it better. I would love to go back after all 6 episodes have dropped. Watch it and see, like, oh, okay, this arc works much better. And it's something I always said about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. When you go back and watch, if you binge Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., because there's always this talk about how slow the first season was. It wasn't the first season was slow. It was that, they actually are telling the story, and there's all these tiebacks, and it's actually a very well-woven story. It's just, a 13-hour film. And unless you're willing to sit there with the knowledge and reread it, you don't get as much from it. So I get the feeling that this is the kind of show that might warrant multiple viewings, which Disney Plus would be very happy with.
I hope so. I hope it comes together in a way that.
Yeah, I mean, I think like right now, I can, in my mind, I can see what they're building, but I am often wrong with what they're building. But I hope that they're building in a certain way. And like I said, I do think we are supposed to come in this thinking Kate is kind of clueless, which is very different than who she is in the comics. In the comics, she's uber capable. And I think they probably said, we have this kid come in and be uber capable. She's gonna look like a Mary Sue. So the first thing we see with her is not knowing if it's the clacker or the bell that makes the noise. And then having her clack the bell and destroy the clock tower, which makes me think that the clock tower wasn't being used. Right. That it wasn't an active clock, that it was severely in need of repair.
Right.
And her choice to ring the clacker to cause the bell to start to swing was like, it was an impetus that they had intentionally turned off because they realized, oh yeah, no, this whole structural integrity is about to go. We got to stop using this bell. We got to turn this thing off. And her hubris to win a bet is meant to make us see, oh, she's a dumb rich kid who doesn't know that she has consequences in life. You know? And that's the thing. She's skilled, but and to put to your point, she's skilled, but she doesn't know how to be disciplined.
Right.
And I think, yeah.
I think even her skills were oversold or maybe undersold, because I didn't buy that, like, for all intents and purposes, a child who won a bunch of state tournaments in Taekwondo or whatever is beating up some Russian thugs that are used to killing people. You know.
Well, she doesn't really beat them up.
Well,
she struggles the whole time. In fact, there's actually some specific spots where she tries to do a move and it fails, and she can only succeed in the move. So, for example, when they do the heist and they break in, and first off, a very bish and bang snatch and grab heist. I don't know who authorized that nonsense, right. But that was just like, that is so chaotic and so not worth our trouble. But
and clearly it was so well thought out, but they had no idea where the item they were supposed to get was.
Yeah, which makes me think that whoever is running the show is maybe a little lower on the totem pole, or maybe is constrained in some way, like maybe they're currently in prison. So, you know.
Like, no, that makes a lot of sense, that it's somebody like an underling trying to make a name for himself or something.
Yeah, that someone's trying to burst through and they're hitting these problems. But so, because as an example, she tries to do the hurricane and immediately she fails because her hands are up here, and she wraps her legs around the guy's neck, and she can't do the Black Widow move because her complete leverage is wrong. It's only when the pipe breaks that she falls and suddenly her leverage gets put right that she can actually flip the guy. And they do this a few times, and there's a few things where on a couple of shots she's good, but when she tries to actually attack these guys, she realizes, oh wait, I know how to fight people in a sparring situation. I've never actually been in a barroom brawl. And I think that is what they're trying to tell us here. Here's this woman who is really skilled at hitting targets, but she doesn't always know. So as an example,
I guess the piece that was missing for me was that realization coming to her. I guess even in this moment, I find myself going, man, like you want to see her get a comeuppance, and she does, but she doesn't get it. So like that's the part that's still, I guess, frustrating me. Maybe it's supposed to.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, exactly. Well, but that's the thing. It's a payoff. It's a slow burn. Because that's the thing. Does someone realize that they're an idiot the first time they're an idiot? No, it usually takes 6 or 7 times of being an idiot before there was, oh my goodness, I'm an idiot. Oh, that's what I should have done. And I think a perfect example of, so there's 2 great examples of this in this episode when they go, oh no, that's next episode. So we'll talk about that next episode. We'll get to the actual fight. But in this one, it is just this. So and let's just roll it back, because there's all this story we're skipping over here.
Right.
So we find out that after she destroys the Stain Bell Tower, which is something I think is going to be important, because I actually think there's a secret villain of this piece that no one has considered yet. And I mean no one, not YouTube, not Reddit. No one is saying, oh, that Stain Bell Tower and the watch they're looking for, that's not Kingpin, that's not Vulture, That's not any of these people. You know who actually has that interest here is Jebediah Stane. Obadiah Stane's child.
Oh.
Who's going to have this interest in recovering this lost Stark tech that is his right, his rightful heir. Because let's remember, Obadiah died, but not in any criminal sense. So his will transferred whatever Obadiah had to him as a junior partner in the Stark Enterprise. And so whatever he was being groomed for got ripped away from him by that jerk Tony Stark and his jerky Avengers, you know? So I think Jebediah Stane is going to be our big secret villain. He is a character in the comics. You can look him up. And the reality is that, so within this story, I get and that again goes into that idea that there is someone that's a little bit incompetent or someone who's not really in this world running this thing, because he's still rich. He's still got, 20,000 shares of Stark Tech and Stark Coin and whatever else they got, There's Stark Coin, there's Stark Coin.
Finance.
And, he is ready to make his move, but he needs his big break, and he needs that Stark nanotech that he knows is in that watch. That red and gold watch is the thing that he is looking for. That thing that he can take as his birthright and reverse engineer. Because like all great investors, he knows the engineer works for me, not the other way around. Like Edison before him. I love Edison. I think actually Edison was a super genius, of whom both Howard Hughes and Nikola Tesla would be proud. Although again, Howard Hughes, who is the basis for Tony Stark, wasn't the founder of his fortune. It was his father who actually created this specialized carbide drill bit. And that's what made the fortune, was they had this specialized process for carbide drill bits. And all of Howard Hughes's adventures were actually cost negative to Hughes Tool and Die. When you actually look at the aggregate. So it's an interesting comparison of all of this.
Right. I mean, think about like how many geniuses had ideas that could have revolutionized the whole world, but never saw the light of day. Right. And here comes Edison. He takes Tesla's ideas and he leaves him in the dust, but the rest of us benefited from it. We're going to look down on Edison. We're going to look down at all of ourselves too.
Well, yeah, but and at the same time, Edison, as I always said, I think Edison always tried to deal as honestly as a businessman can.
That's fair.
That's capitalism for you. He tried to be as honest as he could with Tesla. He recognized Tesla's genius. He wanted to promote him. I think Tesla had a lot of issues. He had the same issues with Westinghouse, another capitalist. And I think Westinghouse was even worse, to be honest with you. I think Westinghouse, because Westinghouse was just, no, I'm just a capitalist, man. I'm not even a scientist. I'm just, give me things that make me money. And of course, Tesla wasn't as concerned about money. And again, like I always say, that I actually think that Edison was onto something with direct current, because when we look at Tesla, what do they make? Batteries, solar cells, things that operate on direct current, that short burst of energy directly into something, and then we hold the charge. And that's the breakaway. That's Edison's dream, not of power plants, but of selling batteries and solar cells, because then you own the power. I just want to sell you the machine to hold the power. AC makes you dependent on the utility. See, that's the thing. Then you got to be plugged into a wall.
Tesla's moving into with their batteries and their car.
Yeah, but that's the idea. Well, yeah, Tesla's all about batteries. I mean, honestly, Tesla isn't a car company. Tesla is a battery company
and an AI company.
We'll see how their AI works.
It's driving cars by itself is pretty good.
Okay. I mean, I'm not look, AI is great. It tells me things I might like to watch on video services. And I'm going to watch Blood Salvage eventually, Tubi, don't worry.
It's doing more than that, though.
Well, no, it does a lot of things. I think AI does a great job. I just think that, I do think that humans actually make better choices.
No. When I say AI, it's not necessarily to say that it's in comparison to human intellect or whatever. Just as a tool, Tesla is an AI company. It's that software, I think, that sets them apart with what they're doing.
Yeah, I don't know enough about Tesla's AI work over, say, Google's AI work or Microsoft's AI work or any hundreds of other companies also doing AI, because AI is doing great. And we all love Boston Robotics dancing robots. So anybody that can teach a robot to dance, to me, that's all we want in the end times is dancing robots, 23 Skidoo. Anyway, yeah. I'm not seeing a counter on how long we've been recording, but
it's weird. It doesn't ever give you that. It is.
Yeah, I thought it did at one point, but I guess I'm mistaken. But okay,
it's
so
been about 30 minutes, but in any case,
it's about 30 minutes.
So,
I mean, I don't hold this.
So does she get the suit in this episode?
Well, she gets the Ronin suit. So, and that's
right. Does
that's
she don it in this episode?
Yeah, she got it. Because that's how.
Another thing, like nobody in their right mind would think to do that. I don't think.
Well, no, and again, because she's not in her right mind. She's a rich 22-year-old. Mozz, were you in your right mind when you were 22?
No.
Okay, and you weren't. I mean, I call you my senior rich friend, but you weren't like Bishop Rich. No.
Yeah, fair enough.
I mean, I always admired your wealth and status because it was more than me. But you're younger than me. You're better looking than me. You're definitely richer than me. And that's a good thing. But that's the thing. It's like you're going to make a stupid decision, and she's thinking, okay, this is my chance to be the superhero. And you think about like all those times when every person, I think. And this is the thing, is like after 9/11, I think everyone thinks, what'll I do in that terrorist situation? Will I be the one to punch the bad guy? Will I be the one to jump up like the people on that flight that crashed in Pennsylvania? Will I be the one, if I'm on the subway and I see something?
I don't know. I mean, like, I feel like people did that before 9/11, but once you're confronted with it, you're like, man, I don't want to think about it.
Oh, no. When you're confronted with it, yeah, no, absolutely. But this is a fictional story.
Right. That's what I mean. She hasn't confronted anything. So she's still living in a fantasy world. The real world doesn't exist to her. She's still LARPing.
Exactly. She is good. But in that moment, just like Grills, she's going to LARP. And Grills is in the next episode, so I don't want to spoil it. So, yeah. So she puts on the suit. Why she puts on the suit, I don't know. Because honestly, it probably didn't fit her very well. I hope. And I think it does look like it doesn't fit her very well.
Yeah.
Which only makes it harder for her to fight in. Honestly, at most, she should have just put on the mask. Because the whole point was hiding her identity. But then again, and that was actually, to me, that was the biggest leap. Was that the suit she wears just happens to be the same suit that the waiters wear. I was like, come on.
Well, no, I thought she did that on purpose because her mom said, go in and put the dress on that I laid out for you. And she said, oh, yeah, I'm going to dress like one of the waitresses. See how you think about that. That's how I read that.
But then she'd have to know what the waitresses were wearing.
Well,
that's my only problem with it.
Or maybe it was like a restaurant that they go to all the time and she knew. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess maybe there's a caterer that they use. Maybe she knew the caterer. She knew what they were wearing. So maybe there is that. Maybe she did do a summer internship with the waiters, and so she did have the uniform already. There are ways you can play it out. I just thought that was the most stretch of it.
I thought that one didn't bother me as much as a lot of the other things did.
Yeah. Well, and to be fair, what bothered me the most was that she somehow then just said, "I'm not a waiter. I'm not a waitress." You know, it's like, well, why are you dressed exactly like one?
Okay, so again, then again, that's just the writers being lazy.
Yeah, that is a bit of a laziness on the writers. It works, and that's the thing. Like, to me, that's only a minor thing,
right?
Because I can always say, it helps the story. As we always used to say in D&D, do you want to go with this character? It's like, why should I want to go with this character? Because it'll help the story. Because if you decide to just completely F this character off, I don't know where the story's going, and we're gonna have to just do an improv session, and we can do that if you want. But I do have a written story that if you'd like to follow it, it helps. And I do love how, quite frankly, right away people see through her. It's well, if you want to talk to Gary, and like even when she does the whole, I quit, Gary. It's like, first off, Gary knows you don't know who I am. And it's like, but you don't know who I am. And it's like, it's all these waterworks, all these white women tears. And hey, I'll say it. I'll say white woman tears on air. I don't mind. You can cancel me. I'm uncancelable. The people love me.
That's great.
But she turns it on and it doesn't go with her, and he immediately starts to backtrack. But then as soon as she runs, he's like, "You're scamming me, lady. What are you doing?" And he chases her down, and that's how that goes through. Yeah. But of course, she's a better hider, and she has thought this through. And then the fight goes, and actually, my biggest thing in this is the dinosaur skull. I believe that is not a fossil. I believe that's our first hint of the existence of the Savage Land in this universe. That's a fresh Triceratops skull. That's why it's brown and leathery. I don't know if like fossil skulls are brown and leathery, but I feel like no, that's actually like a 20-year-old Triceratops that Craven killed last week. So
that would be
that's cool. And that would be especially. You have no idea how you got this skull. It's like an actual dinosaur skull. I don't know how I got it. It's from somewhere. Someone dug it up and they sold it to me. Yada yada yada. There's so many amateur archaeologists out there. That kind of stuff happens. But a 20-year-old Triceratops skull. I got lots of questions I got to ask you about this skull. And I need to know where you got that skull. So I actually think that's way more important. I love the fact that they sold the Ronin suit before the Ronin. No, they sold the sword, then they sold the suit.
Right.
They didn't make it. They said the second part of the pair. And here's a fun fact about that. That means they had printed. There were printed catalogs, like for this clandestine rich people auction, selling. These black market items. They printed items, they sent things out. There was a mailer, and people knew what they were bidding on.
Yeah. Was there any? Did you notice any printed materials or?
No, but they said that this is the companion piece in the lot item, and they did the lots. They said this is lot item 432. This is lot item 371. And so this is the companion piece to that, like that. But so that people knew you can bid on the sword, or you can bid on the suit, or you can bid on the sword.
I thought it was just that nefarious practice of, we're gonna sell this, but wait, guess what? Oh, we got this too. Now, if you want the set, you gotta outbid everybody else now, right?
Well, yeah, but at that point, if people have already exhausted their and that's it.
These are rich people who can afford to lose 3 times that.
Of course. This is all in. Like, it didn't even get up to $1 million. So,
right, exactly. That's when they started up 200,000. I'm like, what kind of auction is this? Like, even if the thing isn't worth that much, start higher.
Well, no, because if you start higher, then you pay more.
No, isn't that what the auction house wants?
Well, that's what the auction house wants. But
that's what I'm saying. Why are they starting at 200,000?
Oh, because they know the real value. So basically, if you put this in a junk shop, you'd put a price tag on that says 200,000, and someone's going to wheedle you down to 150.
No. What
But
I
in
mean
an
is
auction,
they should have
you put it
started
with
it at $1 million. This is like, it just seemed like such a like a cheapo auction. They're trying to tell me these are high rollers, and the auction starts at 200,000. I thought it was a little weird.
Well, I guess they had to make it real, and that's the thing.
It seemed less real to me then, because it's like this is like a one of a kind artifact. This
No.
is like
Again, if you're making puppy stew or orphan stew, and you're like really reeling out, like these are things that will get you the chair if you buy this thing, then it gets up to that $1 million level.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. These are puppy stew people. These aren't orphan stew people.
Well, exactly. This is, and to be fair, the vast majority of New York billionaires, they just eat puppy. They're not eating orphan stew, and but they want to feel special too. So the auction house says we're gonna have a special black market auction just for you, our special billionaires. So you come in, we go, oh, look at the fancy sword. It's vibranium. Ooh, it goes right into the hilt. For whatever reason.
Yeah.
Even though it never did that in the film, and we clearly saw it had a full-size sheath when he unsheathed it. But we're going to just add that in because it helps the story. It was probably just a design choice. Yes, Tristan.
Either that or it's probably really not even his sword. It could just be a fake.
No, because I said they got it off the Avengers compound. That's something I went and do in another podcast. But yeah, the reality is Adrian Toomes, all those guys he hired for damage control, for his like under black market business, they're all hired by damage control. Because you need people that say, do you have any experience handling otherworldly materials? Like, yeah, actually, I worked with Adrian Toomes. Oh yes, that supervillain. Yes, he worked with a lot of this stuff. Okay, that's a great reference. We're gonna call Seagate right now. Just make sure that everything's on the up and up. Don't want you using him as a reference if he's not a real reference. But yeah, so it's like. Damage control is completely infiltrated by Adrian Toomes people. And sometimes they take a little. Sometimes things fall off the truck, Mozz. It happens.
Yeah.
That's the problem when you put these things in New York. It's even upstate. I'll be honest with you. But yeah, so that's that. So I mean, that's the thing is it was all stuff pulled from. Which actually kind of implies that if all this stuff was from the Avengers compound, that was there a skull in the Avengers compound?
Well, not all of that stuff was like maybe just this lot, or I don't know.
I know, but I will say this, and again, this is one of those things. That sword, when they unsheath it, it has that trademark vibrational sound of vibranium. And whether their sword could go into its own hilt, but vibranium. So I think that sword was made by someone over in Wakanda. I think there were other people. I think Clint had some friends,
Dora Milaje,
who also survived, who were like, "Yeah, no, you want to go kill people? Sounds good to me."
Or they're like,
"Sounds good to me, white man. Here you go. Have your sword. Go kill some people."
Yeah.
Don't trace it back to me.
Wow.
Oh well, yeah. I think that's a lot. Any final thoughts on tonight's episode?
No,
Mozz?
I'm excited to get into the third episode and see where that goes.
There we go. I hope I've given some excitement to you.
Yeah,
if not, the third episode is neat
in a better light than I did before.
Okay. Well, we will talk about the second episode in just a few minutes. You and me, they're gonna have to wait a week, but that's okay. In the meantime, Mozz, how can people find you?
Oh, they can email me at mozzmanzoor@gmail.com or find me on Facebook under Mozz Manzoor. That's MOZZMANZOOR.
Okay, and I just realized I forgot to get all of our info on the Capes and Lunatics. Well, let's just start with link. Oh God, I'm gonna just destroy this all. The link tree, the phone. I forgot.
Well, it's kind of their fault. It's really an illogical phrasing.
Well, I know. Link
lin.ktr.e whatever. Like, come on, just
Yeah. Well, you do your best in this sort of situation, but yeah. It's
like if the 1-800-collect commercial was 1-800-collect, but instead of the L's, just use 2 IIs. So it's COIIECT, right? 1-800, it's like, come on, just.
Yeah, well, that's okay. So anyway, I can't find it. I'll try and find it before we do the next episode so you guys don't miss out. But in the meantime, if you'd like to write to me, and tell you what, write to me in that old-fashioned email way, the way our mothers and fathers once did, at superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. That's superconnectivityblog, all one word, at gmail.com. Well, sorry, at gmail.com. Don't put the in there. That's going to ruin the whole thing. And I will send you all of our links, all of our phone numbers, all of the things that you need to do. And then we will actually discuss things, because it'll be fun. Because you'll know me and I'll know you, and we'll all be happy forever and ever. And of course, follow me on the Twitters. I live tweet things as I do when I feel like it, at Charlie Esser. That's CHARLIE. Yes, SER. Look for the 2 E's in the middle.
For quality.
Bing. Thank you, Mozz. All right, ladies and gentlemen. All right, you scurvy landlubbers. You've gotten through another episode of Full Stream Ahead. I, your captain, and Mozz, me first mate, we thank you for this lovely 3-hour tour. Thank goodness the weather did not start getting rough and we got stuck on an island for many years. But until next time, come back and embark with us again as we once again sail full stream ahead. Arr. Okay.
All right.